All right. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to lift heavy on deadlift. So stay tuned with me. I also broke a personal record on my personal best today, which was 332.5 kilos. So I've been programming for a while, and I'm going to get in depth with technique, how to deadlift properly to be able to build strength at the same time. Now let's break it down. Okay, this is me warming up into my deadlift. So my whole warm up process, you guys know already. I post every single thing, the whole warm up process right till the end of the workout. It's a long one today, and I want you guys to stay with me. And by the end of this, I hope you guys would have been able to learn how to deadlift more efficiently. Now, when it comes to deadlifting heavy, first of all, you guys all gotta have a program. The reason why you program into lifting heavy is because you got to get your body used to the technique that you actually utilize. And I'm using some of my chalk from KXK Fitness. Massive shout out to KXK Fitness, epic liquid chalk, and I call it the PR chalk because first time I use it, and first time PR. Now let's break down the technique with our deadlifts. What we want to focus on is pushing through our heels, making sure our torso is nice and straight up, and make sure we're rotating our knees out, especially with a sumo deadlift. It's basically like a vertical hip thrust. So how and what are some of the pointers? Now, this is my training today was a little bit different. So after I did deadlifts, I actually went to F45, and because I was running out of time, I had some events on that's live for you, and we actually did a full along workout, which I've also shown here. So you guys can check out this full along workout as well. So if you guys are really short for equipment at home, or you're stuck, locked down or whatever it is, you guys can follow this workout. It's actually a pretty brutal and savage resistance training session. You don't need heavy weights, which is awesome. But let me finish off with our deadlift technique. Some of the things that you guys and some of the pointers that you guys got to take into consideration, even using this video over here. Knees coming out. Okay, so you're pretending you're squatting, especially when you are doing the sumo deadlift. Okay, you're going to be using as much leg drive and as much leg power. Now you got to ensure that your adductor muscles are actually loosened up before you do a sumo deadlift. If not, that's why you're gonna feel it. And also it's gonna restrict you from actually feeling your glutes while you do a sumo deadlift. So a sumo deadlift is actually heavily reliant on your glutes, so you need full glute activation. So if you are too tight and you can't feel your glutes with a hip extension movement, I would advise you to focus on making sure you loosen up before you do any sort of sumo deadlift. That's one of the biggest pointers I can give you. Next up, your shoes. Now I've got my shoes from Riderwear as well. Feel free to use my code Kwame10 and save on these shoes, on any sort of Riderwear apparel. If you like what I'm wearing, all yours, guys and girls as well. There's also girls apparel. You don't have to wear what I wear. But generally your shoes, you want flat shoes with ankle support. So the way I actually, and the technique I use, actually put a little bit of pressure on your ankle as well at the moment. So that's where having these shoes can actually support you. So I keep my feet straight, slightly pointed, very, very slightly pointed out. Keep my chest up, and I want to keep my torso completely up as well with the movement, and making sure I'm driving my hips. So I start the movement. So I pull out the slack, pull the slack out of the bar, retract my deltoids, and then I'll drive my hips forward to start the movement. Before I even start the movement, I ensure that my elbows are rotated in, my scapula is decompressed, and I can keep my chest up and feel my upper back also supporting as a synergistic muscle. And then I start off with a hip thrust, which is basically a vertical hip thrust, what I call it, which starts my movement. Why? Because I want to load up my glutes first. If I load up my glutes, I know my glutes are powerful muscle. Rather than loading my back, I know my glutes are much stronger than my back, so that can actually take the load first. Now, the problem with this technique is if you haven't actually practiced the technique, it's hard. So that's why you kind of program over blocks and over time periods to actually utilize that into your program. Now let's get into training for today. So I had a bit of things on. I got to help out some kids with their training today and push them and motivate them as well too. Very aspiring young lads, and they were awesome. And you know what? It's always very rewarding to see these, because these guys are our future. Okay, I always like to help. I like I'm actually putting out my videos out here for you guys. And I know there's a lot of kids watching as well too. If there's any sort of motivation or any way you can help you guys, I'm always happy to help you guys. So that's the biggest thing for me. It's actually good seeing people do well. Now, this exercise over here is working in our concentric phase, which is actually a harder part of the movement. So we're coming up over a slow period. Now, it's over 10 seconds for this slow period. So this is what makes it so brutal. Now, while we're here, I'm also going to address the topic of how to train to build muscle with minimal weight. So I've got very minimal weights in here. So this is also one of the biggest topics, because I love this because today our deadlift was like extremely heavy. So these are the completely opposite exercises, because we're not lifting anything heavy. We've basically gone from full heavy deadlifts to nice controlled movements, which is and time and attention, which is the complete opposite. So I was doing a bit of power training before. Now we get into some time and attention bodybuilding training, but with lighter weights as well. So how do we accentuate? Like, how do we even make this time and attention longer so we can utilize 10 kilos or 5 kilos, and that would still tear our muscles up like we lifting heavy? And this is what I'm going to be teaching you. So this exercise over here, we've got 10 seconds up, okay? And then coming down. So our goal was to try not to lock out as much as possible, but sometimes it was kind of unbearable. The pain was unbearable, so we had to lock out. But the goal was to not lock out at all during the sets, and getting 4 sets in as well too, with a very minimal rest break in between. So we didn't want to rest for too long, because we wanted to keep the tension on the muscles. At the end of the day, your muscles will recover a lot quicker with lighter weights. So when you guys train with lighter weights, which you can actually hit the metabolic training aspect or part of it, you realize that you can actually recover a lot quicker, even with your muscles too. So which means you can fit in a lot more workouts in. So now, if you guys have ever heard of the hypertrophy graph, lifting heavier is king of hypertrophy. Everyone knows that for sure. Now, what is actually king of hypertrophy is not lifting heavier, but lifting heavier by actually using your muscles to lift rather than your joints, okay? And there's a reason for it. A lot of people lift heavy, okay? And that's why there's a big difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding, okay? If you are powerlifting, your sole purpose is to generate enough power, okay, and strength. If you are bodybuilding, your sole purpose is to build a muscle. So generally, lifting lots of heavy weights, yeah, you're gonna be generating a certain amount of muscle, but that because that's not your predominant goal, there's certain little things there that can impact your muscle building, okay? You know, you could probably, your joints might actually kick in a little bit more, your technique just for explosiveness, and you might not put enough tension on the muscle because the time period that your muscle's under tension for is not long enough to build like as much and focus on the muscle. So using heavyweight and time and attention is probably one of the most efficient way. However, we also got metabolic training. This is kind of like a metabolic training style, which increases. So there's different ways of, using the progressive overload. Okay, so you can increase the frequency as well too. Okay, and the amount of volume of your workout. So right now, we've increased the volume by being able to fit in more exercises in there with minimal time, and this overloads us by actually utilizing more of the muscles over the period of time. So this actually in turn allows us to actually basically, put more tension on the muscle, which is pretty good. So look, I know people are always saying that, you can't get big without lifting weights like heavy weights. You can. In fact, you can, but it's still just as much effort. Like, has anyone tried training with volume? It's intense. It's not an easy workout. Has anyone tried slowing down some of the movements like I've done with these exercises? It's intense. In fact, I would rather just lift heavy and get it out of the way than sit there and, chill around, and be going for like crazy controlled movements. But the boys have their parts to play as well too. So like I said, never ever sit there and badmouth any exercise, because every exercise has its purpose, apart from the one that will hurt you. In fact, even the ones that will hurt you are usually good. It's just probably not executed properly at the time. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things I wanted to touch on the topic today. So while I still go through some of the exercises as well. So I've got Pade in the back. He's changed up one of the exercises. He's doing some pulse work, which is probably a little bit more intense because he's recovering from knee issues and moments, he still kept up and did a lot of the workout. So lunges can be pretty heavy on the knees. That's why we've also got my KXK Fitness knee sleeves to give me some nice little protection. Again, use the code KBD10 to save on KXK Fitness equipment. So yeah, it's a nice little session, nice little mix up as well too. But this exercise was just so brutal. So what we're basically doing is RDL. So we have 10 reps of RDLs with the kettlebells, and then an extra 10 reps with our body, but we alternating as well too. So this was something that was actually challenging. Like, we also had 15 seconds rest breaks between them as well. So, you can just imagine how much your glutes, hamstrings, even your lower back might start to even like seize up with this. And yeah, we started off nice and easy, nice and chill, and then it just got very, very savage and intense. But there's actually one exercise I absolutely love to do, and I think it was very nice having a bit of a change up today, because even though I'm strength programming, I haven't done a lot of volume work, as you guys would have seen. So it's kind of nice to change it up a bit, and I definitely reckon my hamstrings and glutes. In fact, as I'm recording this right now, my hamstrings and glutes are absolutely burning, and it's not even 24 hours yet since the training program, because I get everything done straight up. But yeah, it's pretty intense now. Why I actually like this exercise is you load and unload. So if you guys have heard of the rest pause method, where you actually allow your body to basically recover, and then you load it up with heavier weights. Now, I'm kind of using the same principle. However, what I'm doing is I'm loading it with slightly lighter weights, still going explosive with my hips. But then instead of actually keeping my recovery non-active, I'm keeping it active, because again, like I said, it's not heavy weights. If I was doing with heavy weights, I keep my recovery between non-active. So in this way, I can actually increase the tension on the muscle, and I still feel like me doing the body weight one after each one is still giving me enough recovery to go so explosive. So it's just basically about managing my recovery efficiently between these reps, which is epic. So it's a tough one, not easy, but we're making it work. That's the main thing. We're making it work. So again, it's all about focusing on driving those hips so I can get my glutes and hamstrings engaged. But like I said, it's not an easy one. It's a real big push and a real big tough one as well too. This alone is an exercise. You guys can actually just try this alone and follow through. But the beauty of this is a full along workout anyway. So you guys can try it wherever you are, and you would enjoy. You enjoy it. That's the main thing. So it's tough, but it's a good warm up into your workout. So that's a thing I always say. You guys gotta be able to warm up into your workout. If you can warm up into your workout, you're most likely going to have a better workout as well too. So that's one of the beauties of it. And I'd like to know in the comments as well, guys, what did you guys train today? For me, that's a big thing. I'm curious to see how you guys going with your training. What are some of the biggest things that you find helpful when you're building mass, when you're getting lean, losing body fat? Alternatively as well, too, if you could only choose one to build muscle, get lean, get stronger, be the most athletic person on earth, what would you be? Which, if you could just choose one, I'd like to know in the comments as well too. Let me know what you'd actually choose. That would be amazing as well too. So yeah, I hope you guys have been doing amazing. And yeah, these sets were massive burner. It really took me to the level that I wanted to. And I was actually pretty excited, because for me, I really was keen to still finish off legs. But we did deadlifts and we were running out of time because we had a lot going on. And this is another example of, your workouts don't have to be perfect. You've got a life. Everyone's got a life. And this is one of the things like I love to speak out about, because a lot of people struggle with that balance in life where they're like, I don't have enough time to work out. And on my live stream yesterday, someone actually asked a question about him working 9 to 5 and he doesn't have enough time, to get his workouts in. And so what's the most efficient way? Because by the time he finishes work, he's feeling tired. And In fact, that's one of the biggest things in general. That's one of the biggest reasons why people don't train. Okay, so you pick the normal 9 to 5 person. Okay, that's which is most people work 9 to 5. Okay, you go to work, you wake up nice and early, go to work, and you get home and you're tired. There's no way you're gonna go to the gym. In fact, even if you go to the gym, you're not gonna perform well. Okay, um, the thing people don't actually realize is even when you go to work, be it most people also have active jobs and some people might have desk jobs. Even if you have a desk job and it makes you feel lazy, don't, because you can actually be drained physically, but you can also be drained mentally too. So even the mental drainage is something that will get you tired. Okay, so it's understandable, but doesn't necessarily mean that you can't figure out how to fix this. Okay, you can. Now, my best way to do this is find a consistent morning training time. Okay, so train before work. Okay, wake up at 5 6 a.m. Go in, hit your savage sesh. Grab your pre-workout if you need a pre-workout, or like non-stim or whatever you do, but you gotta make yourself a morning person. It's one of the easiest ways to. Now, it's not gonna disrupt your body clock or cycle. In fact, according to like your sleep cycle or your circadian rhythm, if you are training consistently, let's say at 7 a.m., you actually should be fine. Okay, so if you train every day at 7 a.m., as long as you're not training too late at night and then go in and train early in the morning, your performance will not be affected by training. So in fact, you will feel good. So I think one of the best solutions to this is training in the morning. I personally will have a pre-workout because I know a lot of people have coffee at work or something, maybe half a scoop of pre-workout. The good thing about that is you go to work, will wake you up, then in the middle of the day, have your coffee or whatever that suits you. I'm not encouraging having pre-workouts or caffeine. I'm just saying it's a great way to be productive in both ways. I know I go in, get my sessions done. I go in probably midday. I do some work in the morning, and then I'll make sure I'm eating and fueling myself, go and train, record some videos for you guys, and then I try and get some work done after. But I know the caffeine definitely fuels me through. And when I jump on the computer, I need to edit, I need to do my client stuff. One of the biggest things for me is that usually gets me is I actually need more of my caffeine during that time. In fact, more caffeine during the time that I'm actually doing work than I actually need to train. I don't think caffeine for me is a big thing, like such a big thing when I need to train, like it is. It helps me. I get good workout in as well too, but it's bigger for me when I'm doing work on the computer. So that's huge for me. But I'd like to know in the comments below as well. So if you guys are non-stim or stim people, do you have caffeine when you train? Do you have a coffee at work? Do you rely on caffeine more for training at the gym, or do you rely on caffeine more for, doing your career work? Okay, so yeah, this is a very interesting question as well because everyone is different, and like I said, I always try my best to help you guys, but I want to also make this an open space for you guys to communicate. So drop in the comments below, ask me questions, let me know your thoughts on these things as well. Let me know your thoughts on my training as well too. At the end of the day, I'm a very open-minded person. I'd like to know what you guys think, and if you guys have any questions you want to ask in relation to training, anything that you think my knowledge will be able to help you with, definitely drop it in the comments below, and I'll definitely be answering your questions for you because I want to help you as much as possible. More importantly, I want to see you succeed. I think it's the most rewarding thing to be able to be a part of someone's journey, and them actually embarking on the journey and going on it and giving it their 100%. So for me, it's very, very rewarding to just see you guys just do well. That's all. And I'm really excited for your journeys, guys. I'm really, really excited for your journeys, and I hope you guys are absolutely killing it at the moment. That's the main thing. But yeah, again, this was a nice one as well too. This is staggered squats, and this is actual burrito on your quads. This is a great alternative for a leg extension. If you guys have no leg extensions, staggered squats, 10 reps, 5 sets each leg is a game over. That's literally a brutal way to end you. And then This was an interesting one. We got squat holds, 1 minute squat hold. So this was squat holds with weights for a minute, and then afterwards we did another squat holds with just body weight for a minute. And this was actually pretty good, a great finisher. I didn't find this too hard, to be honest. I feel like I could have gone for longer. I felt like my legs were already pretty warmed up into this. And I also felt like I probably squatted too low. I should have probably started a little bit higher. Okay. But it's not like I was cheating or anything. I just put attention all on my glutes. Now my glutes are bigger muscles. They can handle the heat. So of course I could also last longer with that. Do you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to if I was going, like, trying to keep all the tension in my quads, and they'll already start burning. So it was pretty good. I kept it nice and back. But one of the things I actually felt was a big difference was my core. I had to constantly, consciously activate my core, which is pretty good. Like, and I could really feel it, especially with the weights, as opposed to when it got to the non-weighted. Because with the ball, where the ball was sitting, and in like where I was holding it in, it actually required a bit of core strength, which is pretty cool. So there's the little things that you learn, even when you train. Even when I train, I still learn some new things as well too. So that's where it's important to actually focus and absolutely smash it with these workouts. Now, I just want to take a moment and say thank you guys for everything that you guys have done, the support, the constant support, continuously watching my videos as well. You guys are the real MVPs. I appreciate your work, and I hope you guys are killing your workouts. And always remember, find a way. You can always find a way to train, okay? If this is your goal anyway. If it is, go for it. And in fact, you can always find a way to achieve your goal, as long as it's not hurting anyone. But and realistic, of course. But you can, like, don't doubt yourself. Go in for what you want. Fight for it. Stay strong. Don't forget to turn on